Welcome to the Positive Sports Podcast. I'll be your host this afternoon, Ed Montana. Alongside me today, the very presidential Mr. Valentine himself, Super Bowl MVP.
Woo!
What other events have we missed in the last few weeks?
Figure skating at the Olympics.
Mr. Anti-Doper in figure skating.
Brian Boitano.
More like Johnny Weir.
I don't know who that is.
My brother Alex. Alex, how you doing, buddy?
What's up, brother? Man, I'm almost miserable.
Miserable?
Miserable.
What is miserable?
That's when you're miserably full after eating a big sandwich. That was good, bro. We had a really good recommendation from Ed and my nephew. Tony's
Italian Deli. There's not many of them.
That's good.
They've got 3 locations all outside of the Houston area, but in the Houston area, right? A couple up in Spring, one here in Katy, right by the house.
That should be good.
My son and I discovered it about a month ago when it opened, 2 months ago, and it is fantastic. I mean, the chicken parm is to die for.
It's slamming. I got the meatball. I'm glad you agreed on splitting yours.
Split and share, bro.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
You don't do that?
I split, but I don't share.
Bro, my son and I, when we go out to eat, there's several places where, he's like, I don't know what I want, this, that, and the other thing. I'm like, you want to split and share? He's like, yeah. And so he'll get 2 things that he likes, which of course inevitably I like, because I like food. And we'll split it and share it. Bro, split and share is the way to go.
I agree. That glare
it's like a mini buffet.
That glare is making me look like a zombie.
You always look like a zombie.
There we go. Tell the fucking sun to hide.
A little cloud cover.
At least for the podcast.
We're getting a sunny day here today.
Huh?
It's been a while, bro.
It's been a long time.
Work, travel, COVID.
COVID was fun. I'm not gonna lie.
You had fun with it?
I had a blast. I got to stay home and do absolutely nothing, and feel miserably tired for doing nothing.
But you got your taste back, right? Because you had the sandwich and you said it tasted great. So
yes,
you got your taste and smell back.
I got my taste. I got my smell back. I'm back.
To test the smell, did you just rip a few farts to see if you could smell it?
So I was eating. That would be one way.
That would be one way.
So after I eat, every time I gotta drop a deuce.
Right.
So I mean that's
healthy.
And my it is.
Dogs do it.
And my appetite never went away. Like my appetite was even better during COVID.
Really?
Yeah, it was.
But you can't taste anything.
I know, but see, so that's when it all up here, right? I would eat, but I wouldn't taste or smell anything. So my mental would say, "You really didn't eat anything.
You got to eat more.
You got to eat." No, seriously, I think that's what it really was for me.
I think that if I ate and it couldn't taste, I'd be like, "Fuck it. What's the point?"
Yeah, but I mean, if you still have an appetite, your body is still asking
right.
for
So
it.
you'd eat some, but then as soon as you killed that, your body's craving for food, I'd be like, "Fuck it, bro." There's no way I'd eat that entire chicken parm sandwich with the drizzled olive oil and balsamic vinegar and the grated Parmesan cheese, and I mean, there's no bellissimo. There's no way I would eat all of that. I would eat half of it, right? Because my body would be hungry, but I wouldn't eat the other half. The other half would be like, "What's the fucking point? This tastes like nothing."
Yeah, I agree with that because I wasn't really eating anything that I was really craving because Brothers Pizza, right? I was craving that, but I didn't want to eat that because I couldn't freaking taste it. So I would just eat,
And your taste is now back to normal?
Yeah.
Nothing when it first started coming back, it didn't stuff didn't taste funny because I've heard people say that too. Stuff tasted kind of funny when I first got my taste back.
No. Everything was
so now
normal.
Go ahead.
No, I mean, I got COVID. I'd say I had it for 14 days. I'd say I had it for 14 days. Symptoms,
That's just you not wanting to go to work.
That was part of it. But it worked. So thanks, COVID.
So I had COVID 14 days.
But nah, man. I think my symptoms were pretty mild. Like I didn't have. The only thing I lost was sense of taste, smell, and I was really fatigued, and shortness of breath here and there. But that didn't last all 14 days. Maybe a week. But it wasn't terrible. Like I needed an asthma pump or something. It's just you kind of. I felt I was grasping for air here and there, but it wasn't terrible. I didn't have fever. I didn't have an upset stomach. I didn't have diarrhea. I was good.
So now you've been vaccinated. You've had COVID. You're like the triple threat.
I can't be stopped now. I can't be stopped.
Let's hope.
COVID and whatever other variants out there can't touch me.
Did I tell you? I was talking to mom and dad about COVID. And they were complaining about Omicron.
Mm-hmm.
And they were all worried about the spike. And I was like, and I told them, I said, y'all need to just chill out because, there's 8 more coming. And they're like, 8 more? What are you talking about? I go, well, Delta, Omicron, those are letters from the Greek alphabet. Mm-hmm. And there's another 8 letters after Omicron.
Right.
And they're like, really? I go, yeah. And wait till they get to the end. The last one will be the worst one. And they go, well, how do you know that? I go, because it'll be Zeta. Well, shit. How do you know that's going to be the worst one? Zeta. Just like the Mexican drug cartel Zeta. That's got to be the worst one, right?
Yeah, it's going to be a killer.
And then after that, we're going to go on to COVID-22. So,
yeah.
Fasten your seatbelt.
Well, I'm ready.
I think when I mentioned the Mexican drug cartel, they realized I was fucking
Yeah. You can't be scaring mom and dad like that, 70 years old. Have a heart attack.
Hey, yes you can. God damn it.
But yeah. I miss doing the podcast. We got to get back on track.
We're going to get back on schedule.
We got to get back on track.
For sure. We're going to get back on schedule. To all of our fans out there, to all the people that have been asking me about it. Our work schedules have been crazy, and obviously Alex had COVID and blah, blah, blah. But we're going to get back on schedule so you can catch our podcast on YouTube if you want to watch and see our beautiful faces. Well,
with the glare.
Or you can listen to us on your favorite podcast platform, iTunes, Google Play, Podbean, Spotify, whatever works for you. We do spread misinformation. I will say that right now. If you listen to us on Spotify and you're trying to cancel Joe Rogan, I'll tell you right now, we do spread misinformation. There's going to be 8 more variants of COVID, right. And the worst one will be the last one because it'll be Zeta, which is just like the Mexican drug cartel. So that comes from a non-scientist like myself. So I would dare to say that that's probably misinformation. But you can catch us there. If you want to get a hold of us on the show, you can reach the show via email, positivesports10@gmail.com, positivesports10@gmail.com. If you want to get a hold of my brother Alex, how do they do that?
On Twitter at BrooklynGaucho1.
And you can get a hold of me on Twitter as well at eMontana21. I will accept all of your comments. I will not block people.
I don't block people on Twitter.
I don't block people either.
I get blocked.
I do too. But what we're going to talk about is going to generate a lot of comments. And so I'll tell you right now, I will accept all of your comments. I will not block anyone for your comments on this next topic, right? But I've got some strong feelings about the whole Juwan Howard thing. So let's recap first in case someone did not see it because they were too busy watching the NBA All-Star game last night. Michigan played at Wisconsin yesterday. Close game at the half. Wisconsin pulled away in the second half to win by, I think the final score was 14 or 15, something like that. Towards the end of the game, in 2 separate instances, Wisconsin called a timeout when they were up 15 or 16, 14, 16, something like that. The one that really chapped Juwan's ass was a timeout called with 15 seconds left and Wisconsin up 15. So, the game is over. They're getting in the handshake lines, going across each other. Juwan points at a assistant or some Wisconsin personnel, not the head coach. The head coach is 2 feet in front of him. but he points at someone further back or says to someone further back in the line, I'll remember that, in reference to the timeout. The Wisconsin coach puts his hand on Juwan's stomach. He would have put it on his chest, but he's considerably shorter than Juwan.
Well, actually, he grabs his right arm.
Well, hold on. So he puts his hand on his stomach and grabs Juwan's arm. At which point Juwan steps back. Juwan also grabs him, but immediately lets go, steps back, and there's video out there where you can hear him saying, don't fucking touch me, blah, blah, blah. Things start to get heated. Players kind of join in on it, and in typical basketball fight fashion, no one does anything. They just kind of push and shove. But eventually, someone says something or does something that prompts Juwan to... I've heard this called a punch. It's... First of all, it's open hand.
Open hand punch.
Second of all, not many punches come over the top like this, especially when you're 6'10". If you're coming up over the top at 6'10", I mean, you're basically trying to pat someone on the head. But he makes contact with a Wisconsin assistant. Mm-hmm. And, you know, that's the only... I think there's 4 players that are seen throwing punches. Again, typical basketball player fight. None of those punches connected. None of those punches even look like punches. They look like Annie Fanny trying to shoo away a bug. And they get separated. Michigan goes back to the locker room. Wisconsin goes back to the locker room. Both men in the press conference explain their thoughts on the process. Juwan complains about he didn't appreciate the timeouts. He was asked about pressing with 30 seconds left, 15 seconds left with, down 15. And his response to that is, we were playing 5-on-5 basketball, man-to-man defense. That's what we do. Okay. The Wisconsin coach explains away his side of it. He wanted to reset the 10-second violation because his guys, he had all of his bench players in. And so he didn't want to put those bench players in a position where they get a turnover for violating the 10-second rule. So he called a timeout to reset the 10-second clock and give them essentially, what would amount to, I think, 15 seconds to get the ball across because, they had used up 5 and were getting in trouble. And so he calls a timeout, resets the clock, so now they have a full 10. Neither man explained the grabbing, the pointing, the swat/punch. Neither man talked about that. Neither man explained it. And more importantly, I think, neither man apologized or expressed any kind of remorse for what looked like a pretty ugly incident at the end of the game. It wasn't the ugliest incident we've ever seen, but it's still ugly. I mean, we're talking about college basketball.
And coaches.
And coaches fighting, right? Not even kids, coaches. So, that's where we stand. So, with that explanation, I will turn it over to you. Give me your initial thoughts.
I mean, there's really a lot to unwrap here. I mean, I think there's a lot of questions.
Yeah.
But I think the overreaction, there's a lot of overreaction regarding this. Here's the thing. Number one, my question is, why is it that in basketball, I don't know about any other sport, in basketball, you have the visitor's side, visitor's bench, and you have the home bench, but they have to go all the way across to go into their respective locker rooms.
That was not the case here.
That was not?
No, the Michigan locker room was on the side of their bench. The reason they were walking across is to do the handshake thing.
Okay, well, that kind of changes my perspective on things. I mean, then Juwan Howard just shouldn't have gone through. He just should have opted out of the handshake line, plain and simple. If you're that mad, address it in the press conference. You're going to get asked about... this doesn't happen if Juwan Howard just goes straight to the locker room. If you're that pissed off about it, then don't go shaking the man's hand. You're not going to shake his hand anyway.
And to your point, and I think that you bring up a very good point, that is one course of action that I think could have been taken. he was not going to shake Wisconsin's head coach's hand. He was going to walk past him.
Mm-hmm.
He was going to do the blow-by, right? He was just going to walk past him and ignore him and shake some other guys' hands, some players, right? And be cool with them. But he was going to blow by Guard. Guard is the last name of the coach. And Guard stopped him, right? Because Guard wanted to explain himself. So, go on.
So,
I interrupted you.
But, I mean, the fact of the matter is he did walk in the handshake line. I mean, look, grown man grabbing another grown man. I mean, the Wisconsin coach doesn't really need to explain. Like, what could he possibly want to tell Juwan Howard at that point? I'm sorry?
No, he wanted to...
Or explain himself why
he said in the press conference he wanted to explain to him why he took the timeout.
Then do it in the press conference. Do it in the press conference. Do it in the press conference. There's a lot of testosterone there, you know? And you know, Juwan Howard's probably upset that, one, he got his ass kicked, right? Or that the team got his ass kicked on the court. I mean, there's just so many different ways of handling and this, you know, calling the timeout and Juwan Howard not agreeing with the timeout being called because they were up 15. I've said it plenty of times on this podcast about the unwritten rules, and it just doesn't make any sense. They're fucking unwritten rules. They're not written. That means they don't exist.
Yeah, like we talked about this a little bit earlier. I don't view it as an unwritten rule situation. I think it's, you know, this isn't one that is talked about a lot in terms of taking timeouts and whatnot.
But that's why he got mad, right? Because they took a timeout.
Right, he got mad because he felt the timeout wasn't necessary.
Right, so
almost as though the Wisconsin team was rubbing it in.
So that's what I'm saying. He thinks it's, how can I say? I don't know how to explain it, but it's a sense of an unwritten rule that the other coach cannot take a timeout. That's why he's mad. But there's no rule that says if you're up 15 with 5 seconds or whatever it was left, that the other team can't take a timeout.
My biggest problem with, well, I've got several. I've got problems with a lot of different people here. And I'll start with my guy, right? Juwan Howard. And Juwan Howard's my guy. And when I say my guy, like, you don't know how much I mean my guy. Like, I've been to frat parties with that guy, right? I was there when he was there. And I've seen him numerous times and partied with him some and hung out with him a bit. And I like Juwan. Juwan's a good dude. Like, he's a good guy. But Juwan grew up on the streets of Chicago. Juwan's got a rough side to him too. Like, he's a tough guy. He's a nice guy, but he's a tough guy. And he didn't like the fact that they called that timeout. But I'm sorry. How the other coaches is irrelevant to you. It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant to you how he uses his timeouts. It is completely irrelevant. I say this over and over again. Like, you and Jay and I are on this text string and we talk about this stuff all the time. And I tell you, and I say this all the time. I don't give a shit about anyone other than my team. I care about my guys. I care about my team. I care about my program, my organization, my university. I don't give a shit about anybody else. I don't care. We lost by 14. If he called a timeout or didn't call a timeout, it does not change the fact that we lost by 14. I don't give a fuck. Hold on, let me check my pockets, see if I have zero fucks to give about what the Wisconsin coach does with his timeouts. And quite frankly, I'm disappointed in Juwan for caring that guy took a timeout.
Yeah.
I really do. I've said this before as well. One of the things I truly admire about Bill Belichick and Tom Brady and the New England Patriots That team does not give a fuck about any other team in the NFL. They don't care about any players that are not on their team. They don't care about what other coaches are doing. They don't care about what other teams are doing. They don't fucking care. And that's the way you have to be. As a coach, as a leader, as the face of a program, you have to have one focus and one focus only. And that is your team, your program, your university. And to sit there and to worry about the usage of another coach's timeouts is dumb. It's dumb and unnecessary.
No, yeah, I agree. I mean...
Secondly, the SWAT. I understand you're heated. I understand you're disappointed in the way your team played. I understand that you're angry about the time. I even understand being angry about the timeout. I understand. I don't agree with it, but I understand it. But you are the leader of men. You are the leader of young amateur men. These are not professionals. They do not have contracts. These are young men. You are molding them for the future. You are their beacon. You are their role model. You cannot, under any circumstances, take a swing at someone else. If someone was taking a punch at his wife, I might understand it. But there is nothing that a man can say to me in that situation where I'm the coach. There is nothing that a man can say to me that's going to prompt me to swing at him. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And you cannot do it. You are a leader of men. You can't do it. Third, the same thing I said for Juwan goes for Coach Guard. You don't have to explain to anyone outside of your program why you took a fucking timeout. You don't have to. And if it hurts your feelings so much that Juwan Howard was going to blow by you without shaking hands, take comfort in knowing that you have a 21-4, 21-6 basketball team that has a real shot this season in the tournament, and you just won an important basketball game by 14. Take comfort in that. You don't have to explain it. And you certainly don't have to explain it to the point where you have to grab someone else to explain it to them.
Right.
Keep your hands to yourself. There is nothing in the heat of that moment that you're going to say to Juwan Howard that's going to make Juwan go, oh, well, I'm glad you explained that to me. I feel so much better. Would you like to go out and have a beverage after this? There is nothing you're going to say to him. If you told him that Jesus Christ himself came down and told you to take that time out, it wouldn't make a difference to Juwan. It just wouldn't. So for you to try to explain yourself to Juwan is unnecessary. And moreover, for you to grab Juwan is also unnecessary. Keep your hands to yourself. I say that to, I coach Little League and youth soccer sometimes. I used to tell kids that all the time. Keep your hands to yourself. Do not touch anyone else for any reason whatsoever.
No.
And unfortunately, now we have to say it to a couple of 50-year-old grown men. Keep your hands to yourself. There is no reason to do any of that. For the players that threw punches, you're going to get a couple of days off.
Oh, I'm sure.
And
maybe the rest of the season.
I don't know. I guess that's the next topic. That's the next topic of conversation is where do we see this going for those guys? For the players that threw punches, I hate to say this, but just remember that you're basketball players. You can't fight. Seriously, we had this discussion earlier, right? Like, is there a worse athlete at fighting than a basketball player? Out of the four major sports, hockey, baseball, football, and basketball. No. Basketball fights are the worst.
Nowadays, yes. Back in the 60s and 70s.
When Rudy Tomjanovich was getting his jaw broken by Kermit Washington. Yeah, that's different. But obviously, hockey players are the best. Baseball players get into it pretty good sometimes. Yeah. Football players, they've got too much equipment on, so it's kind of hard to throw punches. But basketball players, I don't know if it's because they're tall, they have long arms, but they can't throw punches. It's terrible. There were, I think, I counted 4 punches thrown in that skirmish between the Michigan-Wisconsin game. Not only did they not connect, they weren't even close.
It was just swinging at air.
They were just swinging. I mean, there were a couple of air molecules that might have a bruise today, but that's about it.
I mean, but back to the Wisconsin coach. Like, what's the point of taking a timeout? Like, seriously, what's the point of taking a timeout? I mean, you get a turnover and Michigan gets the ball back and
they cut it to 12.
I mean,
it's a close game.
Unless you
did he have money on it? Well,
possibly.
The spread was only 2.5.
Oh,
I guess he could have had an alternate spread.
Yeah, maybe. But I mean, that prevents any of this, you know.
Yeah, but you can't. I don't think you can look at it that way, Alex, because he's coaching the game. Like,
what game? The game's over.
No, but it's not. There's 15 seconds left.
No. The game is over.
But it's not. There's 15 seconds left.
To do what?
To inbound the ball to get a possession up the court. He's got his backups.
No. What benefit does it give Wisconsin?
Those backups
to coach
the last 15 seconds of the game.
To call a timeout when you're up 15 or 14. What benefit?
Because he didn't want his bench players who had just come into the game cold to.
Bro, there's 15 seconds left. I mean, hold on.
I get it.
Hold on. Let's not be technical here because seriously, the game is out of reach at this point. There's no reason to call a timeout. There's really no reason to call a timeout. There's no reason to call a timeout. I don't see a good enough reason. You're the team calling the timeout. What benefit do you get? What I don't understand. The game's over. It's done. It's over with. Just run out the clock. I mean, these are not players. I mean, you don't have players on the team that are trying to break a record or something and get an extra 2 points or anything like that. You're not doing anything. Like you said, this is a team that is 21-6 or whatever, and right, they're on their way to the tournament. Well, what you're not playing for anything at that point. The players are not playing for anything at that point. The game's over. I know technically it's not over, but the game's fucking over. Like, there's really no reason to call a timeout.
I don't have a problem with it. You know, I don't have a problem with his explanation either. That he very clearly gave at the press conference, and probably should have done it there in the first place and not try to talk to Juwan about it. But anyway, I don't have a problem with it. He's got young guys who just came in off the bench, cold. He doesn't want them to have their only experience in that game be a turnover, a 10-second violation. So he called the timeout to reset the clock, the 10-second violation clock, and give them a chance to at least finish the game on the Michigan side of the court. And I don't have a problem with that. But again, that just goes back to the way I think about these things. I'm a Michigan guy. And so if he wants to do that and he tells me that he sees some benefit in that, right? Okay. I agree with you. There's no reason to do it. But I'm not going to be critical of the way a guy coaches his team.
No, I know from
right?
From Juwan Howard's perspective, right? But
even from my perspective as a fan.
Yeah, but I'm a fan too. But I don't see what the hell's the point. I just don't see no point in calling a timeout with whatever seconds left.
Well, but can you at least see this point? He doesn't want his young guys who just came in off the bench, who are just getting garbage minutes, right? He doesn't want their one experience to be a turnover. He doesn't want their one possession to be a turnover. He's got a freshman on that team. You're
going to tell me that these players have this is their first time in 25 games into the season. This is their first time.
I don't know.
No, Ed.
I don't know.
You're smart guy.
I assume not.
Okay.
I agree.
And
with
it
you.
won't be their last time either.
I assume not either. But my point is this: he sees Coach Guard sees a value to that, and I think whether on a scale of 1 to 10, he sees value in it at a 2. And he wants to preserve that value. You see it at a 0.1, but it does have value. Right? Like, I guess my point is this. We're all different. We all value different things.
Oh, yeah. I know,
and so, if he puts value on it, okay, so be it. And again, this back to my original point that you coach your team and that's all you worry about. I don't care. That's what Coach Guard thinks is valuable, and that's what Coach Guard wants to do for his kids. Okay, that's fine. It doesn't, I'm sore about losing by 14. I'm not sore about the fact that someone took a timeout when we're down 15. That just doesn't mean anything to me. Because what he does is his business. I'm trying to make the best Michigan basketball program I can.
Right.
Right? And I say that from Juwan Howard's perspective, but I also say that from a fan perspective. I just don't care. Unless I had money on the game, in which case I would care. But, my only skin in this game is my team. And I just...
What ended up happening after that timeout?
I don't know. Michigan scored.
Wisconsin had the ball.
Yeah, but okay. I guess they didn't run out the clock. I don't know. Let me look. I'm curious now.
Yeah. And look, I'm laughing at all the people saying fire Juwan Howard. Like, we need to stop with this cancel culture and fire everybody and all that shit. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with Juwan Howard hitting somebody. But I mean, as a grown man, if somebody grabs you like that, things are already kind of uncomfortable. You're gonna react. So
let's see. 15 seconds, Wisconsin calls a timeout. 13 seconds, there's a foul by a Michigan player. Wisconsin makes one of two. Michigan misses a 3-pointer and then makes a layup. And then the game ends. So,
I don't know.
A lot happened after that timeout
I
to
guess
cool
so.
off about the freaking timeout.
Yeah. 15 seconds probably felt like an eternity.
Yeah. As far as punishment, I'll tell you what. I'm really torn here. Because again, I really like Juwan Howard as a person, and I like him as a basketball coach. And I think he is good for the Michigan program. And I think the Michigan program is...
Not when he's doing shit like that.
Well, yeah. I think the Michigan program is going to excel under his guidance. Probably for a long time. However, one of the things that I really like about Michigan is Michigan focuses a lot on leadership. It's not just wins and losses. It's leadership. It's the program. It's doing things the right way. And I find that desire to have strong leadership, to do things the right way, in direct conflict with the face of my basketball program taking a swipe at somebody.
Oh.
So I am almost in the Juwan should get fired camp. Will he get fired? I don't know. I think if the suspension is any more than 3 games, if it goes into the tournament, I think you have to fire him. If the Big Ten comes down and says he's suspended for 5 games, which is effectively the rest of the regular season, and he's eligible to come back for the Big Ten tournament and then possibly the NCAA tournament should Michigan be selected, you have to fire him. And I'll tell you why. If his return is in the postseason, this story doesn't go away. And if this story doesn't go away, then the story really of this entire season becomes this story. And how is that going to play out on the recruiting trail? And how is that going to play out for the image of the university, which they hold pretty high?
Right, yeah.
I think that if you suspend him for 5 games and then he comes back under the brightest lights and the conversation will continue to be him swiping at an assistant at the end of a basketball game, under those brightest lights, if that's the way Michigan's going to be looked at under the brightest lights of postseason play, I think it does more damage to the university, and I think you have to fire him. If he gets a 2-game suspension, he gets 3 games to kind of get back under, kind of wash away that stuff and move on, then I think maybe you keep him. But I don't think he's going to get a 2-game suspension. I think it's very likely that he gets 5. And coincidentally, there's 5 games left in the regular season. And while I don't think he's going to get fired immediately, I think if the Big Ten comes down with a 5-game suspension, I think Michigan will fire him. And that, and I'll tell you right now, for me personally, it's heartbreaking because I love Juwan.
Yeah.
Love that guy.
I don't get it, man. Basketball players fight, throw punches. They get fined or suspended. And we're over here talking about Juwan Howard should lose his job. Go figure.
There's a difference. The difference is this, Alex. And I don't know what basketball players you were referring to. But if you're referring to professional basketball players, they're not the face of a franchise. Maybe some are, 1 or 2, right? LeBron, obviously. Steph Curry. There's a couple of guys that are the face of an organization. But basketball season comes and goes in the NBA. In college, Juwan is the face of a program. And in basketball more than in any other sport, because in basketball you can recruit guys in 1 year and they're done. It's not like football where they have to be there 2 years at least. It's not like other sports where they're there for 4 years, right? And they can build some kind of face to the program. In basketball, more than in any other college sport, your head coach is the face of your program. And it is a 365-day-a-year job because you have preseason, regular season, postseason, the tournament, recruiting, camps, so on and so on. It does not stop. It is a non-stop grind. And you cannot have the face of your program exhibiting less than top-notch leadership.
So he shouldn't get another job in NCAA college basketball.
I tell you what, if he gets fired from Michigan, he probably won't.
You know what?
Let me clarify. He probably won't get another job, another college head coach job, but not because no one will want him, but because he will not want to do it. I don't think he's going to want to coach anywhere but Michigan. I think he will go back to the NBA.
You know what's crazy? Bobby Knight, I don't know if he ever hit anybody. But
Yeah.
I mean, he did.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean,
But those are students.
it didn't affect Bobby Knight.
It's a different time.
And now we want
It was a different time.
same actions.
Bobby Knight eventually got fired from Indiana for grabbing a kid.
Eventually, not
Right.
right then and there.
Right, but that's when times were changing. Is my point.
Yeah.
He got fired from Indiana, what, in the 90s? Early 2000s? I mean, things were changing.
No, yeah, I know, but I mean, they weren't.
I see your point. I get your point, but...
Seems like maybe a little bit of a double standard to me. That's what that sounds like to me. Not from you. I'm just saying from Twitterverse and all that shit.
Well, I
you know
think,
what I mean? Like, come on.
I think things have changed dramatically in sports, especially in college sports, with the sexual abuse allegations and things like that. You cannot exhibit violence. It's a different time. Just like the NBA game is different than it was 30 years ago. The violence aspect of it is just not acceptable in any form or fashion. And to be fair, I think he could get away with he could just get a suspension, 2 or 3 games. I'm just saying, in my opinion, if it goes 5 games, he comes back during the tournament, and
They're on the bubble, right?
yeah, they're on the bubble.
Okay. So I mean, there's no guarantee that they'll play a game. They'll have a tournament game.
Correct. Boy, wouldn't it be interesting if he got suspended for 5 games, came back to the Big Ten tournament, and had to play Wisconsin?
Get your popcorn ready.
No timeouts, motherfucker. I could just see it now. Before the game starts, Juwan walks up to him and goes, look, man, I'm not going to, bop your guy on the head. You don't call timeouts. How about that?
No timeouts.
No timeouts. Hey, yeah, let's play no timeouts.
Just run up and down the court. Have the players get tired.
Yeah, no timeouts, no whistles, substitute on the fly. Guys just run off the court, guy runs on. Like in hockey.
Yeah. Yeah, why don't they do that in basketball?
That would be so cool.
Right?
But you know how hard it would be for the referees? Heck, it'd be hard for the players.
Yeah.
Pass it to the guy, he's like running back to the bench.
And that guy, that guy's running with the ball.
Yeah.
As he's going to the bench, passes it back. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. I think we'll see something pretty soon on that.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Well, Michigan plays on Wednesday, so it'll be before Wednesday. He will not be coaching Wednesday. I know that.
Yeah, no, he won't be. I think we'll see something today, Monday.
And likely, well, it's President's Day, so maybe not. You don't know. Maybe the Big Ten has the day off today.
Oh, yeah.
God, I love these quasi-holidays.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, I don't do shit anyway, so
No.
every day's a holiday.
Ain't that the truth? You got anything else?
No, not really. Off the top of my head, no. Do you?
Surprise! Karl Anthony Towns won the 3-point shooting contest.
That is surprising.
That's a big fella.
Plus 1,100. I wish I would have fucking known.
The fact that you look at odds on All-Star Weekend is really, really worrisome.
I mean, that's one way to stay engaged. Yeah, with basketball during All-Star Weekend.
That's probably the only way.
I had some coins on player props yesterday, which I really felt good about, but
Did you take the donut?
Yeah, it was LeBron and plus Giannis 30 points each. So LeBron finished with 30. No, LeBron finished with 24. Giannis finished with 30. I thought it was a good play.
How is it possible that LeBron in Cleveland didn't get 30?
That's what I'm saying.
Like, especially
I thought he was gonna put up Steph
50,
Curry numbers.
Right, 50. Right. The All-Star, just watching the All-Star game, I watched it for like 5 minutes. And watching them run up and down the floor and dunk and alley-oop, it's like, once you've seen 5 minutes of the All-Star game,
right,
you've seen the entire game. Because in those 5 minutes, there's been a couple of three-pointers from half court damn near. There have been some dunks. There's been some coast-to-coast. There's been 3 or 4 alley-oops, either off the backboard or, to a teammate. The only thing you don't see in those 5 minutes is defense.
And fouls.
Yeah. Did they even have referees out there?
I didn't see one. But to be fair, though, the way the All-Star game is formatted now, they do play a little more defense towards the end of the game. So you do see defense played.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious.
I agree with you.
But I mean, still, you're right. I mean, it's
baseball is
terrible.
Far and away the best of the All-Star games. Hockey is second, and then it's a fight for last between
which
the
one
NFL,
is worse?
Between the NFL and basketball.
The only thing I don't like about the Major League Baseball All-Star game is, number one, it doesn't count.
Well, neither
and
do these games.
and baseball, right? And baseball's already a long game, so I don't know. On a Tuesday night, I really don't want to sit there and watch an exhibition baseball game.
Hold on a second, Alex.
What?
You can't call out baseball because it doesn't count.
Right, but
because none of them count.
I know, but baseball tends to be extra long.
So you don't like it because it's long, not because it doesn't count, is my point.
Both.
So do you not like the NBA All-Star game because it doesn't count? Is that one of the reasons you don't like it?
I mean, none of them count, like you said. I know none of them count, but I'm saying on top of baseball not counting, it's fucking long. I don't want to watch a long exhibition game. Maybe if they do it 7 innings, that'd be cool. 9-inning game, takes forever. Just my opinion.
I think the fact that it doesn't count is irrelevant because none of them count.
Okay,
They're
well,
all
then baseball's too long, and that's why I don't like it.
That was my point from the beginning.
Same shit.
You know who I feel bad for in these exhibition games? Out of all 4 exhibition games, hockey goalies. Because those fucks, right? Here they are. They're the best of the best, right? Mm-hmm. But now they've got no one... Because in hockey, they don't play much defense either.
Right.
And they've got snipers everywhere shooting at them. And they don't have a... Like, no one's given up their body to block a shot at the NHL All-Star game like they do during the season. So now you've got the best shooters in the world shooting at you, and you really don't have any defense to help you out.
Right, yeah.
It's like your reward for being really good is you get a really hard game. How you like that? You know?
Yeah, fuck that. I couldn't do hockey.
The All-Star game, you mean? Or play
Just
hockey?
play hockey.
I would love to play hockey.
Nah.
It's so much fun. Played floor hockey a lot.
Floor hockey?
Yeah. It's the same thing as regular hockey, but on feet.
On feet.
Yeah. We had... So, in college, I lived in an apartment. We shared a driveway with the apartment next to us. So, it was a long drive. I had 3 roommates. We'd put a bucket at each end, and we'd play 2-on-2. And it was so much fun. And we'd beat the crap out of each other with those hockey sticks.
Sober or drunk?
Both. We had so much fun sober that sometimes we'd come home drunk and like, hey, let's play. And we'd park cars at each end with the lights on so we could see.
Smart.
Well, you know, we were college students.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this episode of the Positive Sports Podcast. As always, folks, thank you very much for listening and or watching. I wonder if there are any people that watch and listen. I guess if they do it on YouTube. If they
watch, they listen.
But if they listen, they don't necessarily watch.
Right.
It's kind of like the whole square is a rectangle, but a rectangle is a square. Anyway, God, we got ADD today. We keep going off on tangents.
It's okay.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting the podcast. Please feel free to reach out to us. If you want to argue with me about the Juwan Howard thing, I'll be more than glad to share more thoughts and hear other people's opinions. I love hearing other sides of the story because I know mine is very clouded in maize and blue.
That's all right. There's no wrong or right. I mean, you know, it's all...
Different perspectives. That's all it is.
That's it. That's all it is.
As always, folks, ignore the negativity. Be the positivity.
Peace.